soon as we walked on the property, right away we felt how beautiful it was and how natural it was and how it just evoked a feeling as soon as you came down the driveway. I want to ensure that even when you're in the house, that you're still feeling that comfortable, natural, welcoming setting even when you're inside. So these are some of the materials that we're hoping to put in the house here. One of the main things that I want to try and do is have the outside come inside into the new addition. So dealing with a lot of stone, continuing the cedar that we already have going on the current house, and then bringing that inside. And it's all about texture, being organic, and just making it feel as natural as possible, because at the end of the day, that's what the exterior of the property feels like. When you're starting with a new construction, you usually kind of know the lay of the land and you're breaking ground and you can go for it. For us, because we were dealing with a previous house that we're trying to add on to, where we were adding on was very important.
So this is the mark on the plans of our existing house, which is wrong, right? So this was our mark, so you basically go down, that's 10 inches essentially.
And we're dealing with people that don't always know exactly what they're coming into. So our engineers, our surveyors, they just kind of think it's the run of the mill, but unfortunately it had a lot of really unique things going on.
So a surveyor came here before you did this and surveyed the ground to figure out what our levels are, right? So before the architect did any plans, he needed to understand what this elevation is and what this elevation is, and that was all done by a surveyor. What we need to do then is we need to figure out the correct marking of where our current elevation is and what that number is, and I'm gonna phone the architect and we have to right away start working with the correct number.
Taking on new construction period is usually something that we tell our clients, make sure you have a contractor, make sure you have a designer. And the reason is because this does become a really stressful situation and you need the help.
That number is 40.90. Your current mean floor elevation.
So taking on a house already is a stressful situation. And it was stressful for us too, because it was our home for over 8 years and we're adding on, and part of me was like, what are we doing? This property definitely has a lot of water. When we did break ground, there was a lot of re-water routing that we had to do.
So there, right there.
We've been really worried about the water because there's a ton of water on this property. We ended up having to add a lot more water pipes and drainage and rock than we anticipated.
So if we don't cut that water off, it can overrun his foundation drainage.
This is the end, and this is as far as we get, and we don't get an addition. So it did increase our costs in regards to all the pre-work we had to do before we even started framing the house. It definitely helps when you have trades that you trust and you rely on, because it was Vance and I that were leaning, doing this project on our own. We had an excavator making sure the water was okay. We've had a geotech on the property twice, and they keep telling us that we're okay. After being here for a couple years and thinking it would be nice to add on, there was obviously even talk of, do we take down the current house, especially when we started talking to the city and they really wanted us to tear down the existing house. They felt like it would be more environmental to take down the house rather than to add on. To get rid of a house and take it down, I think that's something that we're doing too much of. with this whole property. From the moment we purchased it, there was a lot that we were taking on. So it was almost like we needed to heal from that, I think, a little bit, and then go, okay, here we go. Let's do this again. We're ready. We're ready for, you know, possible flooding. We're ready for water. We're ready for the city. We're ready, you know, and let's just go for it.